So with us today, we have Dave Hanighen from Logix Federal Credit Union, and Dave is the Chief Information Security Officer there. Welcome, Dave.
Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We're glad to have you. So, Dave, if you will, take us through a little bit now that, remote workforce is one of those things that is on everybody's mind, and I know you personally have experienced a lot of that at Logix. Tell us a little bit about how the attack surface has changed for you.
Yeah, it definitely has expanded, Jason. We, prior to COVID, we had a pretty tight network. Most everyone was working out of the corporate headquarters, which is in Burbank, California. And then we had 2 satellite facilities, but they were literally within a mile or 2 of the corporate headquarters. So very, very centralized approach for the network. We did have, I believe, 3 or 4 remote workers, 1 in Virginia, 2 in California, and 1 in Texas. But that was pretty much the extent of it. And then we had a little sprinkling of work at home now and then. Nothing like what we've done with COVID. We've actually put about 740 of our 750 employees in permanent work remote scenarios currently. So our attack surface has expanded pretty dramatically, and it continues to be a challenge because the attacks in a home-based environment are much easier at times than they are in more of a corporate network environment.
Yeah, can you go a little bit more into depth? I mean, had you defined the different kind of user groups that you have, different controls associated with each?
Yeah, we first of all implemented 2-factor authentication for our VPN connectivity right off the bat. That was very, very important. We had it working for most of our periodic telecommuters, but we really had to enforce that for a full-time staff of 700 plus employees working remotely. In addition to that, we had to go back and evaluate all of our applications because we have mortgage applications, we have payment applications, we have all kinds, and not all of them worked well with the VPN scenario. So in some cases, we had to go back to the vendors and ask them for assistance to get it to work properly. We also use a Citrix environment, but we are kind of sunsetting that technology in favor of the Palo Alto Global Protect that we have now. It's actually Cisco, but and that's been very effective for us. Once we got it stabilized, it took about a month. Things really settled down quite a bit, and now our folks are connecting very securely.
So from a priority perspective, when all of these things kind of came at you at the same time, it sounds like, you did kind of approach it from a multi-factor authentication perspective, remote access and securing that. Any other tips that you've got for those folks out there?
Yeah, I think the only other tips are, they're not technical. Believe it or not, the tips that I think we've discovered most of all, especially in our environment, is for that PII, that personal information that we have for our members, to make sure that our team members are shredding it at home. If they don't have a home shredder, take it to a branch and make sure that you don't have it lying around when the kids and the relatives are over and that type of thing. It's really that reinforcing that, and we actually added a training module, believe it or not, for our team members to go through to kind of reinforce the home work environment and how it needs to be as secure as your work environment was in Burbank.
No, I think that's great. And enlisting the help, everybody's job is security, not just one team within the organization.
Yeah. That's right.
So how did the employees respond?
It was mixed at the start. I think some people really, really liked the socialization of being in the home office. I think a lot of others, my team's a good example. They were doing it before I got here a year ago, and they really liked the work remote. So it was a mixed start. I think we just did a survey, as a matter of fact. It's kind of funny you asked that question. We just finished the survey, and we talked about it in a town hall meeting this morning. And I would say about 70% of our team members have embraced the work remote now, so they really feel much more comfortable with it. All of our telephone service center folks are working remote. The only ones who are not are our branch people. And we have about 16 branches, I believe, and we've had to close a few of them and redirect members to other locations due to staffing issues and that type of thing. But for the most part, everybody who's working remote is pretty happy with it, it seems.
Fantastic. So now that you've kind of gotten over the hump, if you will, and there's a new normal that exists, what else is on your roadmap?
Well, we have a couple of things we're working on right now. Both are regulatory. One is identity and access management. We are about 7.4 billion in assets. We're quickly approaching 10 billion. 10 billion is kind of the cutoff for credit unions as far as moving into another level of expectation with your regulators. And identity and access management is something that they've been talking to us about for about a year. And they came back this year and said, we want to see you guys make some serious strides in that direction. So This includes biometrics, single sign-on throughout the organization for every application, least privilege, and that type of thing. So it's a pretty extensive project. It'll probably take us about 2 years to complete. But once it's in place, we'll be able to manage our identity and access much better than we are today.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for talking with me. Dave Hanighen from Logix Federal Credit Union. Thanks for your time today.
Well, thanks, Jason. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it.